All right, here's another part in this. I guess you could call it a series of "Don't lose your ass in metals." LOL. On number 5 on the video that I had before, it was never sell at a loss. Don't put all your cash into metals so you aren't forced to sell at a loss. Keep enough cash, 3 to 6 months. Invest the rest if you want. Obviously do what you want with your own money. Don't be forced into a position to sell when you aren't coming out ahead. This is a you problem if it happens, and yeah, it pretty much is, because you're not willingly going to give money away. You're not going to take a $100 bill and set it on fire, I assume, right? If you set a $100 bill on fire, whose fault was that? You or the $100 bills, right? You see the problem there. So if you do something stupid and pay a price for it, you come out with less money. This is something you did that was stupid, then it's all on you. Now, that's not to say that there can never be a situation where you've had 6 months worth of cash in the bank, you're broke, and this happened during COVID. People were put out of their jobs. A year later, they're living in tent cities. So, yeah, it can happen, but that's usually something catastrophic, and I don't really get into catastrophic because that's something that we don't know is coming, and there is no way to really prepare for that properly other than having your own private army or something, and producing your own food and having your own country, I guess. Never sell at a loss. So assuming that the world has not come to an end, assuming that the Russians haven't invaded and they're taking your small town, assuming that we haven't been nuked, we're going to play in a little place that here and now I call reality. And in this place, we never sell our metals for a loss. We make sure we have 3 to 6 months worth of cash saved way before we start putting money into silver. Now, that's not to say that you can't go buy yourself a 10-ounce bar here and there. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying before you really start getting too much invested, make sure you have 3 to 6 months worth of cash, liquid cash, not something that's invested somewhere else, something that you can pay your rent with today. Because part of all of this is the cost averaging, which I'm harping on because that's the foundation of all this. You want to have the least amount of money invested in the most amount of metal. Everything should be like that. That should be, if you're investing, that should be the goal. And I don't understand anybody that wants their silver. I'm going to go to the moon. Why? Because your investing days are over if it goes to the moon. If it goes to the moon, if silver's worth $300 an ounce and that's about what it's quote unquote worth, that's it. We're done. Now it's just something that you're hoping will keep up with inflation. The hell with that. I don't want that. Never sell at a loss. Well, you won't have to sell at a loss if you buy on these dips and then don't do anything stupid. If you've got your 3 to 6 months worth of cash in the bank in case, life happens okay, so say you get laid off or you decide to take another job, and now you can dip into your 3 to 6 months savings, pay your rent until things stabilize again, and there you go. Well, when we lived at our last place 10 or 12 years, and we decided, I don't really like it here anymore. I'm kind of bored with everything, and there was some other details going on. They put a rail trail next to our place, and we were dying, man. We were waiting for 2 years for the rail trail. It was literally like 50 feet or 70 feet from my front door. And we've got these $3,000 recumbent bikes, the 3-wheelers. It's like a little tank you're driving, and we love those things. 2 wheels up in the front, 1 in the back, and went halfway across the state to buy these bikes. Couldn't wait for that rail trail to be built because that's what we like to drive or to ride on, and we always had to pack our bikes up, right? And so I'm getting off on a tangent here, but so what happens is they put the rail trail in. Well, instead of it being a place we could put our bikes up on, at which we could, and we did, and going for a ride, way, way, way down the road, there were people that were thieves that were riding their bikes up to our place, coming down our path, and then stealing stuff off of my patio. One of my neighbors, they get into his car. We never had that problem there before. It was perfectly peaceful and quiet. And then that rail trail went right past our property. the property where our place was at, and all the thieves started rolling in from down the road. And we know where they were coming from because the rail trail ran right past their property too, like, I don't know, 2 or 3, 4 miles down the road. And so we had to move, and I moved over here. And the reason I'm saying all this is I had my 3 to 6 months worth of cash in the bank, and the guy thought that we were just going to like move on the last day of the month and be gone by the first day of the month. And I'm like, no, no, no. I'm going to pay my rent here for the month, and I'm going to pay my rent for the new place at the month. And I can do this because I've got my 3 to 6 months in the bank. I don't have to go cashing my silver out. I don't have to put it on a credit card. You know, I don't have to borrow it off somebody. I've got my 3 to 6 months in the bank that I can use in cash whenever I need it. And I would not, personally, I will not keep more than 3 to 6 months. When my bank account gets up to a certain amount, I start looking at places to get it, and it's usually in metals. Even if I got to buy metals on a little bit of a higher price, not a lot higher, but a little bit higher than I want, I will do that to get my money out of the bank, because I don't like having my cash in the bank too much, because all the financial crap, and if you're hearing it today, it could be worse. Never sell at a loss. So do everything that you can to keep from letting your metals go for any more than you paid for them. Never let them go for even a dime less than what you bought them for. But this shouldn't be never sell at a loss. It should be never sell unless you're making money, unless you're coming out ahead, I mean. That's what I guess I should have put on that little list there whenever I did the other video. Always make sure you're coming out ahead. There's no reason in a normal situation, if you've got your 3 to 6 months in cash and you're not getting laid off and catastrophe hasn't happened and there's no financial collapse, barring all that other stuff, you shouldn't have to sell at a loss. You should be in complete control of your investments. Just a question here. Do you put every dime into crypto? Every dime. You don't even have a savings account. No, that would be stupid, right? Do you take if you have $18,000 on hand? Do you put that all into the stock market? You don't even have a savings account? That would be kind of stupid, wouldn't it? So why in the hell would you do it with silver or gold? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense to me. I can't get my head wrapped around that. You have to have fiat because everybody takes fiat. You don't want to have your money invested because the fiat is losing value through inflation, absolutely. But it's not usually going to be in a position where it's going to lose 50% of its value overnight the way that a commodity might. It might go down 50%. You haven't lost until you've sold. As long as you don't sell, you haven't lost a dime. So what I mean is that today silver could be $25 an ounce, and in theory, it could be $16 tomorrow. It's not going to happen, but theoretically it could happen. Crazy stuff happens when you're dealing with commodities. Everybody in the United States, all these people could just start dumping all their silver. Now, what do you think that's going to do to the price? Realistically, what's it going to do to the price? It's probably going to drive it down, right? That's not going to happen, but theoretically it could, depending on the situations. We see it in the other direction where people start panicking and they go and they start buying silver and it drives the price up. Now, these stores can't take too huge of a loss, and they have to have buyers on the industrial side in order to make sure that doesn't happen sometimes. But by and large, if the price goes down too low, they're just going to jack their premiums up, which we did see that through last year. Silver went down some, and for the longest while, the premiums were skyrocketing. I believe I saw one website that had a $19.90 premium for an ounce of silver at one point. Now, I wouldn't pay that. No, I'll be rotting in hell long before that ends up happening. I'm not paying $20 for premium. I'm not getting ripped off. You want to talk about something reasonable, then yeah, I'll do it. And this is where you have negotiating power if it comes down to it, in that if they are trying to rip you off, you just say, that's okay, I'll take my money and leave. And either they will negotiate with you, or you take your money and leave, and They either sell to somebody else at that stupid price, or they start not being able to pay their rent. You know, I mean, these places are businesses with overhead, the people that buy for the most part. And so at a point, they're going to have to start dealing with people that are willing to give them money. And that means if they have to take less, then they're going to. And I believe that that's probably why those premiums ended up, partially why they ended up coming back down, is because they realized people are not really wanting to spend $20 premium on an ounce of silver. That's almost as much as a damn silver's worth, you know. And they were up there. I mean, they were over $40 for a $24 an ounce ounce of silver. Anyways, like I said, don't sell at a loss, and that I should change that to always sell when you're coming out ahead. Always make sure you're coming out ahead. Always make sure you're coming out ahead. If you're going to trade it, so say like the silver goes up and you can swap it off for another metal, if you're going to come out ahead, then yeah, do it. You know, if your silver's gone up exponentially and the other metal is just sitting there, say platinum, for example, well, yeah, change it off for platinum. Not all of it if you don't want to. Do some of it. Get a couple ounces of platinum. Wait for the silver price to come back down. And when it's to your advantage, when you add the numbers up, don't just go in and blanketly do it. Add the numbers up. If it looks like you can take X amount of silver and get X amount of platinum because silver's way up, and then when it all switches back around and the silver comes back down, you can take that platinum back in, and it's to your advantage. Go ahead and do it. Don't listen to these little jackrods on here saying, oh, premium. You're taking the premium into account. You're adding that into it. This is all getting figured in. Find out what your total value is, what you can get out of your metal, and the total cost with all the premiums and charges. And if you're coming out ahead, then consider whether doing it. I'm going to make the next video, probably one of these videos is going to be about not listening to these little nitwits on YouTube or Facebook or TikTok or wherever the hell these losers hang out. You know, the guy that some pumper dumper came along and told him the metal was going to the moon, and this jackass took out his life savings and hocked 3 of his kids and dumped everything into silver at $50 an ounce, and then it went back down to 20, and now he's telling you what a loser you are for investing in silver because his dumb ass got into something that he didn't understand and listened to somebody that was basically ripping him off, you know, like a used car salesman or something. Anyways, I'm going to cut this one short. Y'all have a great day.